Chapter 2. Part 3. The next day Agnorok decided that speed was important. He left Amoeba's soldiers under the command of Governor Sebastian with orders to protect the Red Mines. What was left of his mercenary battalion along with the Dorsal League army set out on their way to Kazmin. The Yahyla scouts reported the full retreat of the Alliance army. They had been divided. The dwarfs had returned north looking for an entrance to their underground realm. As Olbiana's troops retreated south beyond Kazmin, the northwest was secured for the time being. Without delay, they advanced quickly and with little rest towards Kazmin, the ancient capital of the Kingdom of Demenba, most likely also besieged by an alliance army. It is there that Debok was located with the entire quartermaster. Thanks to its central location in the kingdom, it allowed excellent communication with all fronts. The advance was rapid. The route to Kazmin was well connected through an excellent causeway. It was noticeable that the Red Mines were the main source of Dememba's power. The Dasmir dynasty had encouraged transport to have the easiest and most comfortable route possible. After 5 days of marching, the silhouette of the city showed itself to his eyes. There were remains of a siege, but it seemed that the attackers had hastily abandoned their positions. Kazmin welcomed them with open arms. There were Debok and Kush waiting for them, relieved by the arrival of the reinforcement army of the Dorsal League. The first thing Agnorok did was to present himself to Debok and Kush in his command tent. He found that the situation in Kazmin was not much better than what they had suffered in the Red Mines, until the arrival of the League army. 4 days ago you abandoned your positions. Shortly after came the news of your victory in the Red Mines. Kush told Agnorok about his problems in Kazmin. He had to come to Debok's aid and leave Silkri alone in the south. All fronts seemed to be in trouble. At least the victory at the Red Mines seemed to have given them some respite. Agnorok continued his story. We were very lucky. They had planned it very well. But they did not count on the defeat inside the mines and the arrival of the army of the League. Agnorok replied. How did you defeat the legion of the brothers of Danka Attar? Agnorok did not answer, only indicating to the Denkka that he was drinking a bottle of wine in a carefree manner in another nearby shop. I understand. Debok didn't need to say anything else. Only one dwarf survived. Who? A repudiated princess, Tanya Gemenegra. Kush scratched his head and Debok had to consult a thick book. Dwarf genealogies were complex and long. The good thing is that they used to write a lot on the subject. The repudiated princess. Debok murmured. It was something recent. Perhaps it was not registered in his volume. Why do you spare the life of someone whose family prefers to see her dead? Commented the magician. Agnorok again looked at the Denkka, who continued to drink from another bottle undeterred. Debok sighed. You can retire, Agnorok. You deserve to rest. We will talk to the leaders of the Dorsal army, but we will soon leave. The eastern part of the kingdom needs help. It is about to fall. Agnorok was exhausted. He needed to rest for at least a day, but that seemed like it wouldn't be possible. She found the dwarf sitting. She put her hand on her right shoulder. Tanya couldn't move that arm without pain. Come. Tanya slowly sat up and followed the half-orc, advancing through the streets of Kazmin until they reached what had been a park before the war. Now it was a makeshift camp where the wounded and sick rested. In the center there was a bonfire where Arian was tending to some children. Oriana greeted the half-orc, left Anthra's company, and ran toward him. That made his mother and the Kendali turn around and smile when they saw the half-orc's arrival. The priestess had greeted Kritis and Sabu before, who were now resting in the shade of a tree. Have you won? The girl asked. Agnorok had been surprised by Arian's decision to bring his daughter to Dememba, but the truth is that the war was going on too long and spending more than a year without seeing her parents would be hard for the little girl. Oriana hugged Agnorok as her mother and Kendali approached. Yes, we have one. And her? The girl pointed to the dwarf. Your Uncle Gosberg's stuff, she's a prisoner. Is it a dwarf? Oriana lets Agnorok rest. Her mother oppressed the little girl. The girl withdrew for a moment. Anthra hugged her again. When the priestess reached her height, Agnorok requested Arian's help. Arian is wounded in the shoulder, take a look at it. The dwarf reluctantly approached. The young priestess examined her shoulder, then helped the dwarf remove her armor and shirt. Agnorok has it dislocated. Sit between my legs. Tanya looked suspiciously at Arian, but it hurt too much to resist. Vanus brought a bowl of water. Arian removed the jewel from his neck and placed it inside the bowl. By the power that Elaban has bestowed upon me, let us heal this dwarf. The jewel began to shine and the water began to fall on Tanya's shoulder. The dwarf felt how the water burned her, but just after her pain disappeared and at the end of the ritual she was totally cured. It's amazing! Exclaimed the dwarf gratefully. It is thanks to the power of Elaban. At the same time that Arian was saying these words, Gosberg arrived. Tanya and Agnorok's eyes fell on the Denka that began to play with Oriana. Meanwhile, Arian began to examine the deformation of the dwarf's face. What is that? It is a birth deformity, nothing can cure it. Arian smiled slightly. Not here, but if Elaban wants to, there is a place where we can cure her. The young woman took the dwarf by the hand and helped her to get up. You have to rest now for the healing to be effective. You are going to take a bath and change those dirty and bloody clothes. No one dared to contradict Arian. The priestess of the god Elaban helped all the wounded and needy equally. Although it was obvious that she supported the League, she made no exceptions. If she had to heal captured enemies, she did it without problems. But Tanya was treated in a special way since she slept in the priestess's own chambers. She used the bed that Arian shared with her daughter. Arian decided to stay in Kazmin, taking control of the city while the bulk of the troops advanced to the west of Demember. It was decided that Tanya would stay with her. In the south was Silkaris battalion guarding the border. They left before dawn. Agnorok, Gosberg, Kush, Kritus, Vanus and Sabu said goodbye to Arian, Anthra and Tanya. Oriana was asleep. It was too early for a girl. But the one who accompanied Arian and Anthra was the dwarf princess. She couldn't sleep. So, together with the priestesses, they watched as the army left Kazmin at full speed. The alliance is lost, nothing can be done against them. Anthra commented confidently. Arian smiled as he saw Agnorok walking forward with the troop next to Sabu. He didn't like riding a horse at all. Have no doubt, Demember is not going to lose this war. As you know? Tanya asked. The blind trust of her two companions could not be explained. Arian's jewel flashed. Tanya was surprised. Now she realized that Arian was very powerful. Her face had a gesture identical to Gosberg's. The Blue Phoenix Company will never allow it. Anthra sentenced.